Oh dear.
Hi, everyone. It's Bernadette Wagner. Welcome to Prime Time for Women, Weekly Mindful Monday. Today, I'm here with Angela Petry, who was a guest on our show. She is a belly dancing instructor. She performs with a group called the Flashbacks. She's the lead singer. She kind of does it all. She's a woman of many talents. She also records audiobooks. So I was thinking today, about gratitude because Thanksgiving's coming up. And I was going to share some of my favorite quotes, but instead I invited one of my favorite women to talk with me about gratitude and to share, both of us get to share some of our favorite quotes. So Angela, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Bernadette.
Yeah, so we were just catching up and laughing about, not really getting to go anywhere. And so that we're just grateful today that we have a reason to put on some makeup and maybe comb our hair. So, Angela, you were on our very first Prime Time for Women TV with our first show. And then when we did our the second season, which the first show was in February, we had you on the show with a panel of women, which was really fun and sort of how we thought this whole season was going to go. Diverse women getting to discuss meaningful topics. But then COVID hit. So we're not together, but that doesn't mean that we still can't connect. I've been working really hard on saying to myself, virtual is a virtue. So here we are using this virtue. I wanted to ask you, Angela, a little bit about, given these difficult times, what is it that you're focusing on? What gratitude are you focusing
on? Wow, there's what gratitude am I focusing on? This is such a good week to discuss that with Thanksgiving and then all the challenges of putting that together. So I've been definitely thinking about this, having conversations with my family about how to navigate the Thanksgiving holiday. But I can tell you that I'm grateful that I live in the country. You know that song, Thank God I'm a Country Boy?
Yeah, thank God you're a country girl.
Thank God I'm a country girl, because I'm actually looking out the window at beautiful acreage. We have lived in the country for about 25 years, and there's definitely difficulties, especially when you're in the performing arts and technology. But I'm so grateful for the outdoor spaces. We live in West Virginia, near state parks. I'm just so grateful.
Beautiful West Virginia, that's right.
And the pandemic has really deepened my relationship with the outdoors and the natural spaces, because I have been so busy and so involved in event planning, performing, running here, running there, getting in a car, jumping, and not having the quietude and the time that was sort of really forced on me. But now I'm reconnecting with nature and the reasons why we moved out here. So I have to say that's one of my big gratitudes, is just being close to nature.
Yeah, I feel like I've had more opportunities to be out in nature. I've done a couple really fabulous hikes. I did the Raven Rock hike a couple of weeks ago from Raven Rock Road north to Pennsylvania. And just it was a spectacular Saturday fall day, and just crystal clear sky, and I could see as far as, I think I was looking into Pennsylvania and West Virginia just from that peak. It was.
And you probably could see Maryland, West Virginia, yeah, you can see them when you're high enough. You can see 2 or 3 states. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I also was wondering, how has this impacted? Well, I know that you teach women belly dancing classes. Have you been able to navigate that virtually, or is that something that you've put on hold in the meantime and focused on other things?
I initially was going to try to go online, of course, back in March, when we all thought this was going to be just a relatively short period of time, or we didn't really know. I immediately jumped on the Zoom bandwagon, like many other instructors were doing. One of the downsides of living in the country with all this beautiful nature and air around us is technology is a little bit slow, literally. And I found I couldn't host very effectively Zoom classes from my home, and there was no other place to go. So we waited until warm weather, and I had several of my students contact me and say, hey, I saw this video where this woman is teaching Zumba in a parking lot or in a backyard or in a park. Why can't we do that? And I said, well, absolutely. Why can't we do that? And so I utilized a local state park, and also the Ice House Art Center here in Berkeley Springs has like a backyard patio area. And we just worked with it. You know, sometimes it was hot, sometimes it was cold, sometimes it was rainy, sometimes it was humid and buggy. And I have to say, this would be the second big thing I'm grateful for, is my students really hung with me. I mean, we just kind of each week said, all right, is the weather going to be good? Yes, let's have a class. And my students continue to come and study with me for the bulk of the summer until right up until last week. And then I'm going to take a little break. But if the weather holds, I have students who have said to me, you know, we could just get full ski gear and get big hip scarves, and we'll just come out in our boots and our mittens and we'll dance in the snow.
Right.
So that enthusiasm and that participation, with just me sort of creating a little bit of space for people to come and do something together, is that is just such a powerful thing. And I've realized more and more that it's about creating those spaces and creating those opportunities, and then people will come in. It's like, you know, you build it and they will come. They will come in because they crave that experience.
And
together.
you know, it's interesting that what you do as a dance instructor is you get a community of women together, and it's to learn to dance, but they connect on so many other levels. You know, they're sharing their lives, they're sharing their hopes, their dreams, their insecurities, but there's and I think that that's one of the things that why Primetime for Women was so interested in having you be a guest on the show, because I think you understand that personally, but you certainly understand it as an instructor and as a performer, that music has the power to draw and connect. It's the shared stories that you guys share in your classes. I mean, that's powerful medicine, right?
It absolutely is. And I was just listening to an interview with Roger Walters from Pink Floyd, you know, you know, back, you know,
right.
Somebody who's been in the music business for years and years and years. And he's still writing and recording and doing projects and navigating this pandemic. And he was talking, he was asked, you know, does music have the power to heal? Does music have the power to heal divisions in our society and in our cultures? And he said, well, he goes, I don't know about that. He goes, but what I do know is that music gives us the opportunity to learn empathy and compassion, because it opens that place in our hearts and in our minds,
yeah,
to be more receptive to that. And so the arts, so many artists and so many performers and events centered people are just without work, without any, you know, any means to make money, and without a way to fulfill what, you know, what their careers, what their chosen careers are. But I have to say that this between Zoom and, you know, I've actually taken a lot more classes online this year than I ever have, because, you know, you can't go to festivals, you can't go to workshops. And so I'm taking advantage of that. I have to say, I always feel a little bit bereft at the end of the class, because you do your Zoom class and you're having fun, and then you click the button and it's all gone, and it just has that little bit of like let down. But again, I'm learning to get over those little, you know, kind of things, and appreciate the fact that I can connect with people, can study with teachers that normally I wouldn't have been able to study with because they're in another country or another, you know. And so many great instructors are online right now, and you can access a lot of great content. So
yeah, and you know, I was getting ready to tell you that Primetime for Women is pivoting to a national platform soon, and part of that is because there is this incredible dearth of real-time connection. And if we can, I always talk about the power of the stories that we tell ourselves. And, you know, so much of what we tell ourselves is what becomes true in our life. And so right now, I've really been telling myself that virtual is a virtue, and that we can use this virtual connection, this technology, to reach out and create community for women. And so I am particularly grateful that that is even a possibility for women, and especially women in their prime. Many women in their prime are now working from home, and they don't have that connection at work. And they might still be caring for children or caring for elderly parents. And so the idea that we can create a community of programs and highlight different women who are doing teaching and offering programs through our platform will be, I think hopefully something that's really meaningful to everybody. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and that I'm so excited to hear you say that, because it's certainly everything that you highlight, everything, all the objectives in Primetime for Women really do transcend countries, cultures, and so many different people from different backgrounds can benefit from that, and it opens a lot of doors for people, and it keeps that connection, because that's one thing that I think has been highlighted for a lot of people. Even though there's the people that say, oh, I'm an introvert, like especially in the beginning, I'm an introvert, so, I don't really mind staying inside and working from home. But after 8 months, even the introverts, I think, start to realize, wow, they miss that. They miss just being able to get together, have a cup of coffee with a friend, or, hang out, go to a class, and participate in something in their communities. Now, one thing that I've noticed in my personal life is that very early on, there was sort of a small group of friends who would normally have gotten together and socialized anyways. We kind of doubled down on our social bubble and had very frank conversations about, hey, if we still want to hang out and do things, how can we do that? And there's been a lot of innovation just within that little group. And those relationships, I believe, have actually deepened, because there have been some times when somebody will say, oh, I went to so-and-so, and we're all like, what do you mean you went to so-and-so? You can't just go out. And then, like, we had to have these really frank conversations about, like, where did you go? Who were you with? And in a way it was half joking, but half serious, because everybody has very, very serious concerns. Everybody has a different level of concern right now.
Well, everybody has different underlying conditions, or maybe their families have underlying conditions. So it's been tricky to navigate that. But
yes.
Like you, I'm grateful to the people that I can have those honest conversations with. And even with my 5 children, one of them is coming to Thanksgiving, and the others are not coming because they didn't think it was good for them all to be at one place at one time. So this is going to be a very, very different Thanksgiving, but I can tell you that makes me feel a little emotional. Even though they are not physically going to be with me, they are in my hearts and in my thoughts. And that's what I wish for everybody this Thanksgiving.
That's right. That's right. And it is, I totally feel that, because we usually have, I literally last year, I think we had 55 people at our home, inside and outside. Just, it was this, we always have these crazy, huge Thanksgivings. My husband's family, that's usually their big family event. And there is a lot of angst. We immediately jettisoned, okay, we can't have like most of these people, but the core family, the immediate family members. Fortunately, both my sons are actually home with me right now, my adult sons. So I knew at least I would have them and my husband, and we're going to do a small outdoor event with a little bit small, very small extended family outside around the fire. Everybody's going to be distant, but it makes you sad, because you're going to miss that tradition that you have normally, and it also is just one more reminder of the world that we live in today. But
I hope it also, for me, I've been trying to tell myself that distance makes the heart grow fonder. So I've been telling myself that I am going to appreciate this even more going forward in the future. And so that's sort of what I'd like to do. Hey, Angela, I was wondering if we could end our little chat today with, do you have a favorite quote of gratitude or appreciation or Thanksgiving you'd like to share with us?
I don't have a specific quote, but I wanted to share, if I can find, I wanted to share something that I just got from somebody. And I think I wanted to share, it was a personal message from a student of mine. Hang on, I'll bring it up here. It was, an unexpected response to an email that I sent to my students about how we were going to just take a break for the holiday. And what I loved about it was, you know, those days you were talking earlier, sometimes the pandemic can really, everything can make you blue, right? It can make you just like feel so like, what am I even doing? Why do I even try? Why am I getting out of bed today? And just to always go back to what's in your heart, what's important to you. And you're such a great example of this, because you always go back to that. This is what I'm doing. You know, this is Bernadette. This is Prime Time for Women.
As I'm
going
as
forward
I
with
can
this.
be, it's Bernadette.
I'm just going. But you're doing it because it's something that just, it has to come out of you, and you listen to that voice and you follow it, and look at all the good that you're doing. So I think that that's a great message to follow, especially for women in a certain time in their life where maybe they feel like, oh, my kids are grown, and what good am I anymore? You know, what do I want to do now?
Right.
And so my student said, I want to thank you for opening the world of belly dancing for me. No one will know how hard it was for me to be able to open myself up for an adventure of this kind. I'm so glad I stuck with it and grateful for the knowledge you bring. It has always been hard for me to try new stuff with being a perfectionist, but I did it and I still do it. Hopefully I will do it for a long time from now. Thanks for your patience and kindness. And I just—
What an affirmation, Angela.
It's an affirmation, but it's an affirmation of I feel proud of creating that and bringing that person in, but it's also an affirmation of how women learn to express themselves and share with each other what they've learned, and that builds on itself and builds on itself. And I think that we all need that, and our world needs that. They need that feeling, and they need an opportunity to express that.
I've been thinking a lot during this time that taking chances, you have to feel vulnerable. And vulnerable, a lot of people associate that with a weakness, but I actually think it's courageous to risk being vulnerable. So for your student, I would say how courageous she was to risk that vulnerability, to step out of her comfort zone and do something. So I think it's sort of an affirmation of her life journey, but it's an affirmation of what you offer as a teacher. The thing found this quote that I just really resonated with me. It's by somebody named Germany Kent. And Germany says, it's a funny thing about life. Once you begin to take note of the things you are grateful for, you begin to lose sight of the things that you lack. And I hope that Prime Time for Women we can start being focused on opportunities to connect through Prime Time for Women, and stop missing how we did it before and move forward.
That's right. That's right. And you are innovative, and you are creative, and you have unstoppable energy. And I think that that will also inspire others to move forward with their own dreams.
All right, Angela, well, thank you so much for joining me for today's Mindful Monday. I wish you and your family a happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving.
You as well. Thanks for having
Take
me.
care. Bye.
Bye-bye.